Welcome back to another episode of Rock Boys Football Saturday afternoon. The USC sweatshirt had to come out for this one as USC goes out and hires Rob Ryan to take over the linebacker coach spot heading into 2025. I think, firstly, I'm just excited to be invited to the party here. For the last 7 days, it felt like everybody knew USC was going to make a splash hire here. And I feel like everybody knew who it was going to be outside of myself. And I was just kind of sitting there clueless for the last 7 days on who it's going to be. Now, Saturday afternoon, I finally figure it out too. Rob Ryan. First thing that comes to my mind from a pure entertainment standpoint, this is going to be great. I mean, if you follow football, the Ryan brothers, from a pure entertainment standpoint, doesn't get much better. Deal number two, when you talk about defense and you talk about the sport of football, the Ryan last name carries some big time weight. And I think thirdly, back-to-back moves over the last 48 hours, USC has showed us that they are committed to getting this program back to where it belongs in the college football landscape. Right? And Thursday night, it was very clear. Penn State wanted to bring Danton Lynn over to Penn State to take over the defense. What does USC do? Say, no, you ain't. We're going to go give him a raise and extend him. And then 48 hours later, we're going to go get what was a career NFL defensive coordinator, and we're going to get him to come in and coach a position group for USC going into 2025. This is a massive hire. Now, there's a lot of different angles that you can get into this. We're going to try to explore a couple of them before we do. And as always, to the USC fans, number one, most importantly, let it fly in the comments section. A lot of different takes to be had here. The amount of support y'all have shown the fellas as we've talked about this coaching staff, as we talked about this team in the transfer portal, it's been amazing. Can't thank you guys enough. If y'all do enjoy the content, consider subscribing to the channel. You'll just add it to the list of just fun storylines for USC going into spring practice. I will give you the T-box here. Rob Ryan to USC, where you want to start this conversation off.
I mean, I think it starts with this linebackers coaching job is a huge one, I think, for USC right now.
Yeah,
because you look like it's been a position where they just frankly haven't really had true difference makers. Eric Gentry started to be that guy. Obviously, with the injury, we didn't see enough of him. But I look at kind of the young talent pipeline coming up through this. I look at guys like Desmond Stevens, Elijah Newby, Vitae Togia. Like, there's a ton of young, really athletic, really high potential impact guys. And I think USC, if I'm USC at least, I really want to see that group get developed into really good football players, because that has been something that's missing from USC like just high school development.
And you just say it how it is. You know, Easton Mascarenas, Arnold, Mason Cobb, they just were what they were. You know, they were veteran linebackers that were limited from an athletic profile standpoint. In this modern era of college football and just football in general, you need your linebackers to be superior athletes. You look at this USC linebacker room, obviously headlined by Eric Gentry, Desmond Stevens, a couple of the other cats you talked about. There's zero doubt in my mind. This is one of the reasons Rob Ryan is taking this job. He looks at this linebacker room and say, hey, let me get to work with these cats, because there's a lot of raw clay, and there's a lot of raw clay that you can mold into some elite linebackers over the next couple of years. And I think that's where it starts. Rob Ryan, he's a proven coach. I mean, this guy has lived and breathed defensive football for the last 40 years of his life. Now, secondly, the thing that pops to me is he's an NFL guy, and he's a Coach Lynn guy. Now, you start with the Coach Lynn guy. That's really important. An underrated storyline whenever we're talking about defensive coaching staffs is, hey, is your defensive coordinator on the same page with some of the other position coaches on that side of the football? There's zero doubt in my mind, Coach Lynn, when Matt Entz took that job to go to Fresno, Coach Lynn said, hey, where do I want to go at the linebacker job? I've worked with Rob Ryan. I know what he brings to the table. You're getting a guy that's on the same page and has the same conception of how we want this defense to look. That matters. Then secondly, Dill, look at the track record of NFL coaches coming down to the collegiate levels and look at the success they're having. I give Lincoln Riley a ton of credit for recognizing that track record last year with Coach Lynn and Coach Henderson, and continuing to recognize it in this offseason as well. I mean, Coach Lynn, ton of success coming from the NFL. You look at Mike McDonald at Michigan, Jesse Minter at Michigan, Wink Martindale at Michigan. You look at Steve Belichick and what he did at Washington. Damn good job from an NFL coach moving down to the collegiate ranks. NFL guys that come to the collegiate ranks have a lot of success, and it's hard for me not to see Rob Ryan, who's a career NFL guy, spent the last 25 years in the NFL, 20 years in the NFL. It's hard for me to see him not having a ton of success either.
And that's where it gets even more encouraging because I look like why I'm almost surprised he's taking this job right now. And that's obviously no disrespect at USC, but
Yeah.
you don't see that type of move that often because like a guy who really spent most of his career as an NFL defensive coordinator, that's kind of what he's done, taking a position coach at USC. And I think that goes back to what you kind of said. Like you look at pockets of where this USC program can be really good and where they've recruited well and where they have a lot of talent. I gotta think part of him looks at that linebacker room and says, like, that's a unit that I think I can do an unbelievable job with. And again, I don't know that it's necessarily a stepping stone situation, but if he kills it at USC, and the USC fans certainly should hope that, that's kind of what USC needs to get to with their coordinators and position coaches, is where it's a place where you can elevate yourself and it's a place you can come to and say, it's a really attractive position and I can succeed at a really high level.
Yeah, I'm with you on that as well. I think the last thing you probably want to talk about is what it looks like. Well, actually, can I back up one real quick here? You said I'm surprised Rob Ryan took this job, and I think a lot of USC fans might say the same thing. But look at what USC's done with these hires. Like Coach Henderson goes from the NFL to USC. I mean, Coach Entz was a national champ head coach at the FCS level and took a position coach job for USC last year. Kind of telling you the pull that USC has in terms of attracting really good coaches. And the defensive staff they are building is, I think, really, really dang good. Last thing you want to talk about, all right, what does it look like on the recruiting trail? We talked about it when Coach Henney and Coach Entz took the job last year. Look, we're not seeing NFL coaches struggle on the recruiting trail. You know, I think Coach Henney has immediately become one of the best recruiters for USC over the last 12 months. Rob Ryan's got 2 Super Bowl rings on his fingers. You're going on the road and visiting these kids at their high schools or in their homes, or they're coming to USC and taking official visits or unofficial visits. What are the goals? What are the things that these kids in the high school trail are looking for? Yes, NIL is a thing. We all know that. Early playing time, whatever. Their ultimate goal is, how can I go make it to the NFL? When you have a guy recruiting you that has spent the last 20 years in the NFL, has got 2 Super Bowl rings on his finger, to me, that holds weight on the recruiting trail. So, yeah, he hasn't been in college since 1999. Okay, he hasn't recruited that much over the last 20 years. And Rob Ryan's a charismatic dude.
Yeah, that's what I was going to get to. Like, his personality is not like that of a Bill Belichick or a Steve Belichick, where it's like, oh, is this guy going to like sit in a room and be awkward and weird, and not be a relationship builder, if you will? Because there's certainly questions for like that type of guy, and there's a lot of NFL coaches you look at like, wow, would that guy do a good job building relationship with young guys? It's like, I look at the Ryan Bros, and obviously Rex is much more public facing, but those are 2 very affable like individuals. I don't see that as being an issue of like, oh, this guy's going to struggle to connect with people and be that type 100%. Of guy recruiting guys. Like, that's his personality. Just nothing about it says that's going to be an issue. Like, there are certain NFL coaches who maybe is, but
I would go grab a bite to eat and a beer with Rob Ryan. He seems like just a really cool guy, and no doubt will connect with kids on the recruiting trail. This is going to be a fascinating hire. At the very least, this is going to be a fascinating hire. And to make US, to kind of round this conversation out, you're getting a guy that is a grizzled vet at the defensive coordinator spot that has lived and breathed defensive football for the last 30 years of his life. You know you're getting a damn good linebackers coach too. We'll wind it down there. Appreciate you guys rocking with it. If y'all do enjoy the content, consider subscribing to the channel. We'll talk to y'all later. Peace.